I'm not quite sure how to word it.
Okay. Well, this is a podcast, so you're going to have to try and find a way. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Deep Drop. This is a fishing podcast. If you're new here, welcome. Great to have you on board. Just a heads up, we do not take ourselves too seriously. We love fishing. My name's Luke McCredden. Adam Rings with me. We've both been in the industry for a long time, so we kind of get it. But there's one thing that we don't do, and that's claim to be experts, ads, because we're far from it. And another heads up. You're not always going to end an episode you're listening to with a definitive answer. In fact, you probably never will. But that's what fishing is. That's what the podcast is all about. It's about having conversations, ads. It's about branching out into the weird and wonderful world that is fishing, and it's why we love it, mate. How you going? Good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to be back. And you're right. It's quite refreshing to just talk about fishing and not necessarily leave with an answer, because it's one of the few times you can do that, have a conversation, walk away with no answer and go, I feel good about that.
Yeah. Does it always need an answer? No, not really.
No. It's about the journey for us.
Yeah.
And generally people that say it's not about the answer, it's about the journey, are the ones that don't know too much or are a little bit daft. And I think that fits us fucking perfectly, mate.
I got a tattoo on my back that says it's all about the journey, not the answer. I don't.
Post it.
I don't, but I should.
Post it.
T-shirt. Fuck, we haven't done T-shirt designs for a while. There's one. Wow. But anyway, in all honesty, welcome if you are new here. If you're not new here and you know what this dribble is that Adam and I are going on about, then, mate, the fact that you're back means a hell of a lot because we're never quite sure, let's be honest. We have a lot of fun, and that is what fishing is all about to both Adam and I. I think it's fair to speak on your behalf, ads, to say that fishing is just fun. And look, we're both fortunate enough to call it a career. We both work in the industry, and we feel very proud and lucky about that. But, it can get tense at times in the real world jobs, ads. But really, being able to talk about fishing daily, it's pretty sweet.
It is pretty sweet, and hence probably why we have been doing it for so long as part of our professional lives as well. And to give you an idea on how much we can't get enough of it, that is what we've done for a long time, yet we still sit down and record a podcast every week talking about exactly the same thing that we talk about every day of the week as part of our job, Luke, so it must be a pretty good deal.
You'd actually think that if a couple of guys have been in the industry as long as us and have spoken about fishing for as long as us, that we'd probably have some more definitive answers, but no.
Yeah.
No, we do not.
Yes.
Yes. Instagram is a great way to get in touch if you want to. The Deep Drop on Instagram. We have a lot of fun on there. We've got another week of being sent some classic videos, ads that I react to and repost on our page. So if you want to go and check them out, like I said, we have a lot of fun with it. It's kind of just become its own little beast now online. There's some crazy sort of videos up there that we get sent. In all honesty, you guys are wild. I don't know where you're finding these videos, but don't stop. I love it. Like, seriously, keep sending them through. It's great fun. And on top of that, just the post that we'll put up, after a show about some of the topics that we've spoken about on the Deep Drop, and your answers and your feedback and suggestions and ideas is what keeps us going. It's just, we love it. So don't stop. The messages roll through as well every week, ads, and we're all about that as well. So any form of, interaction and conversation you want to have, we're open. Our arms are open, Adam. We're always welcoming.
Always open. Everyone's welcome. We encourage it.
Yeah.
Because it keeps the conversation going, and that's what we're all about.
That is what we're all about. We're also all about the new Deep Drop website, the deepdrop.au. You can go over there and have a bit of a look at what's happening. As we've mentioned, the last couple of weeks, it's fresh, it's new. We're just getting the ball rolling for the deepdrop.au, but it is going to be the place where there's going to be some merch dropping fairly soon. Information on any events. We've done some live shows in the past, ads, including boat shows and bits and pieces. So there'll be all that sort of information as well. And there's some murmurs getting around town that the Wind Against Tide boys are floating out some ideas about another live show. So down the Mornington Peninsula somewhere, Adam. So I reckon that's on the cards pretty bloody soon.
Well, I hope it is, because I saw Dave put the video up and thought, hey, I wouldn't mind going to that. So that would be fantastic. I think we need to give those boys a call and tee it up, Luke, because that was insane fun last time, and we're overdue for another one.
No, well overdue, mate. We absolutely spot on. Actually, let's give them a call and get them on the show. Let's do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
And we'll just hammer them with questions. That. Really put them in the hot seat. Yes, before we do, let's put the call out and just keep an eye on Instagram, because before we get the boys in and onto our show, I'm going to get some questions and some info from the listeners that you want us to pepper the Wind Against Tide boys with. What do you reckon?
Yes.
All right.
And don't hold back. Go hard.
Go hard. So plenty happening there. So love all the feedback that we're getting. So feel free, keep it coming. We're having fun. This is what it's all about. Ads, I wanted to kick tonight off with this is, and look, I don't know if this is controversial, but I wanted to throw it out there to you, because it's not necessarily serious. Well, maybe it is a serious topic, but we've spoken in the past a lot about estuary fishing and the like. And it wasn't too long ago, we were in conversation and we mentioned about some of the systems that close up. And some of them are closed for, a year, two, some of them more frequently open. I'm just wondering whether, as a fishery, we're better off opening those systems ourselves from time to time.
Ooh.
And what implications there may be with doing
I know
so.
what implications there would be.
What?
Amazing fisheries.
Well, this is where I'm going. We know, we like to let nature do its thing. That's, that's how it works. It's probably how it's best worked. Having said that, we have a pretty significant stocking program, which... Is that nature doing its thing? Maybe not, but Jesus, it makes for good fishing, so we're all for it. I'm just saying, from time to time, if one of these estuary systems just, if a few blokes get a couple of shovels going, it might not be the worst thing. I'm just putting it out there, Ads. I'd love to hear your suggestions on it, and am I encouraging people to do the wrong thing?
I think... This is going to sound weird, because in theory, you could map out a time at which any given system is at its optimal time to open. And I mean like people interfering with it being open. But ultimately, I think the way it is with some systems being open and closed more often than others, I think leaving it up to just what happens in the everyday weather, I still kind of think it's the answer, because what we would do if it was free reign on opening systems? They'd spend more time open than not, and we're going to have the reverse effect of what we're actually trying to achieve, if that makes sense. Because, and I think automatically of... lake tyres. Yeah,
that's where my mind goes to. And I know there's a lot of systems outside of that, but I just was thinking about that one as well.
Yeah, and for those that don't know about lake tyres, whether you don't live anywhere near Gippsland Lakes or you're not in Victoria itself, it's a fairly sizable estuary that spends majority of its lifetime shut. I think up until a couple of years ago, where we had some gnarly floods, I think it was closed for about 9 years, something like that. But when it opens, insane things happen. We get massive schools of giant silver trevally that end up getting landlocked in there when it closes again. We've seen big snapper caught in there. We get natural recruitment of prawns, which kickstarts the whole system. Big tailor. It's obviously the big flathead.
Yeah.
But I think letting nature go about it, I think that's what makes it so good. Take the flathead, for example. If it spent majority of the time open, would we see as regular captures of big flathead as we do in Lake Tyers? Or would they just leave the system and end up spread out throughout the Gippsland?
Not bad. Not a bad question. I don't have an answer to that, but you could make a very strong case for, they might get to a certain size and fuck off.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know the answers. I know there are a few systems that still do get opened unnaturally if they need to, in particular if, obviously through high water going over main roads.
Yeah.
And realistically, I think it's about the only time now councils will step in and open systems is if it's a threat to property and infrastructure.
Yeah, sure.
I think that's kind of how it needs to be. It feels right.
Okay.
I don't know, and I can't explain why. It just feels right.
That's okay. Look, I just putting it out there, and I'll put it on Instagram, and we'll get some feedback.
It's such an interesting thought exercise, though, Luke.
Yeah.
Because take the legalities out of it. Obviously, we know that you're not allowed to open them, and we would never condone doing it.
No, God.
It's more solely strictly from a selfish fishing point of view. I wonder if we were left up to our own devices, if we would have the discipline to hold off and only opened it when we thought we did, if that makes sense. Because I could see it getting to a point where as soon as the water starts going a little bit too tannin, or we get a big downflow, a big flush of rain that, say, doesn't open this system, but it doesn't get too high, it's just really dirty, we just think, fuck it, open it so that we can get some clean water back in here.
Well,
I think we would find a way to over mess with it.
Probably, because that's just what we do. We fuck with things just a little bit too much sometimes.
That's how we roll.
But yeah, I guess my angle was, and I wasn't necessarily, I was probably a bit on the fence with it, but I guess my angle was, at that point where you almost like you sort of touched on there, but like where it clearly or seemingly needs a let's call it a flush out. Is that the time where it just got to pull that plug and let it do its thing for a bit? But to your point, and we've spoken about this sort of same mindset recently in other topics, but if it ain't broke, let's not try and fix it right now. Because Jesus Christ, we're seeing some of the best dusky flathead fishing, and as a fishery for probably ever adds. In fairness,
for sure, and I think. But see, this is where it makes it really complicated and actually makes it kind of hard, because for Lake Tyers to stay closed for as long as what it was, that's not a healthy system.
Yeah.
It got so low to a point where there was algae blooms and there was parts of it that stunk because...
So is that the tipping point then? Like, in taking... And just let's take the, I suppose, the direction of if it's to be done manually, when is that point? Like, so if the algae starts becoming a thing, if it starts clearly stinking and the water's just fucked, do we then just go, you know what, this is the moment? Like, there probably could be a scientific way to actually plan on when to pull the plug. Surely you could take water samples of what's optimal for that system and keep an eye on it that way. I'm sure it could be done, but I don't know. It's hard. It feels wrong still. Yeah. I don't know why. I think there's also...
It just feels wrong.
Yeah, and there's other elements too that come into it, and there's other systems. There's a couple I can think of through that New South Wales sort of south coast area or whatever. But it's not just a flush out and get some fresh fish in there or whatever. It has an effect on the landscape or the seascape, so to speak. So new sand shifts and all sorts of things happen, and channels are formed and weed beds move and all that sort of stuff. So it's not like, I don't think any of it's necessarily bad, but it does change things quite dramatically a lot of the time as far as how that system looks and is sort of restructured. So, I'm not suggesting we do it. I just wanted to raise it as a question. Wanted to hear your thoughts on it because, I think think you sometimes say things that are far more intelligent than I do, Adam,
And sometimes I don't.
and that's why we're friends. If we work together, one of us will be right at some point.
That's right. That's right. We piece it together and somehow we come up with half a puzzle rather than just scattered bits and pieces everywhere.
What do you think? Pros or cons? Opening systems ourselves, or just leave it?
Should we? Let's try and make it a little bit more politically correct. Yeah, no, it's no fun, is it?
No, go on. No, because we've already been told off it. Well,
No,
I'm not going to go into it. But yeah,
should we have a protocol in place for all of these? Nah, fuck it. Should we just open them or not?
Yeah, don't worry about using words like protocol and fucking legality. Like, Christ. If I thought, I don't want to.
It's it's. I don't know. We're gonna get in trouble. For
I know. We don't listen. We don't typically any new players here tonight. Firstly, welcome. It's great to have you here. Episode 83. There's a lot that you need to go back and get through to make sense of where we are right now. We don't beat around, like we say what we think, ads, without being silly, and it's
yeah, that's right.
And we encourage the fact that it is very much. It's an open book for opinions and ideas.
Talking shit.
Yeah. Shit. We have fun and we talk shit. We have been, there's been a phone call from time to time from certain parties about things we've said. But we're not doing anything elite. Like, we're not promoting anything, illegal or anything like that. So
we're just talking. Talking.
So I'm not.
We're just talking.
Don't get out there and bloody start digging a hole when there's a system that's closed. But it's it's more of a thinker. It's just like, it's interesting.
That's right.
I wonder if it was something that, like, if you knew tyres every time it closed was going to be fucking 6 years, would you go, well, you know what? Maybe we can manipulate that and it's closed for 3 years at a time. You know what I mean? Like, I know it's not that black and white, but I guess, it's just a bit of a, it's an interesting, but to your point too, and I didn't really think about it too, like, could it take away the dusky fishery that we do have, like, to a degree? Not take the like remove the ability to catch them in the numbers that are getting caught at the moment.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure because there are some other insane flathead fisheries around that do open a lot more regularly, and I think in particular a dusky flathead would find a way to stay within the estuary for the majority of its life because I think that's just the way they're inclined. But it is interesting. I wonder, with landlocked systems like that, obviously bait's going to naturally get bigger over time. If it's not, if they don't have the freedom to swim in and out of the system, they basically they're in the same system all the time. That the area is not huge for them to roam. They're getting big. Maybe those flathead are eating bigger baits.
Yeah, bigger.
The bait profile is generally a little bit bigger. So then they get bigger. I don't know. It seems to make sense, but I'm not too sure.
The funniest one when a system closes is that first sort of month where the tailor that are locked in there just gorge themselves to the point where they pretty much just die. Like, they just eat everything that they swim past.
That's right.
Because they disappear.
They end up getting rounder than they are long.
Seriously, like, because you think about it, and there's like just masses of them, and then they just churn through everything. Then all of a sudden they're gone. But the system's closed.
That is really interesting. I never thought of that. Take those silver trevally at Lake Tyers, for example. They come in when it opens, the front shuts, and everyone stands down the front land base, catches these like massive 50, 60 centimetre silver trevally, and then all of a sudden they stop, and you never hear of one caught again.
Yeah. Where do they go?
What's the go there?
I don't know. I reckon, I don't know about the silver trevally. I reckon the tailor potentially get eaten by big flatties, or eat themselves and just fucking die off.
Yeah, because if there's like a 3.5 kilo tailor, a flattie's not eating that.
Nah, you're right.
Do you reckon those big fish maybe just line up at the front? there and they wait for like a king tide and rough weather and just go, fuck it, we'll swim as fast as we can on the biggest tides and just hopefully we don't get wedged in the sandbar and we make it offshore.
Yeah, just go trout style, just launching themselves over the wall.
Just close their eyes and swim like fuck and hope they get over the sandbar.
I reckon they might. It's like you could almost see that as a documentary, couldn't you? Just this, you know, that emotional music as they're just making that last ditch attempt. And quite honestly, they might just die.
They might.
Something like a tailor that is just on the go constantly and just eating non-stop. At some point, like they can't just disappear.
They just explode.
They don't swim upstream and become trout. Like,
yeah.
or
Imagine they
do they?
Yeah, imagine they did.
New topic. Have we done? I feel like we've spoken about that.
I think we probably have done. We probably have done something stupid like that.
But you know, maybe they do. They swim as far as they can upstream and end up just get eaten by cod. I don't know. I'm not sure. But yeah, like seriously, the trevally, the tailor, where did they actually go? Anyway,
what happens to them?
Or are they what turn into those leaping mullet? Like, do they morph into those stupid mullet?
Oh yeah, they go crazy and just turn into a mullet.
Yeah. They have physical sort of changes, but they've completely lost their mind. So they just end up swimming full noise straight out of the water. And you go, oh, fucking mullet are jumping. But then you go, actually, they're like zombie tailor.
It's just a tailor that's had enough. Do you know what's actually insane about what you've just said?
Yeah.
You could picture a scenario in which it's true.
What, zombie tailor?
That those every time you hear a fish jump, it's like stupid mullet. No, it's just a tailor that's gone crazy because it can't get offshore.
It's properly lost its mind. Like it's having real difficulty going anywhere, and it's gotten to the point where they just break.
Its teeth are falling out. Its teeth are falling out. It stinks, chewing on and everyone's
rocks.
like, "Oh, it's a mullet."
The tailor just start gnawing on rocks because it's like their way of stress relief, and then they're just lost completely, and they just start launching themselves.
Morph into a mullet.
And then maybe that's where they go because cormorants and seagulls and shit come down and just pluck them as they jump in the air.
Yes.
And that is the lifespan of a tailor. We've just summed it up.
Did we just figure out what happens to landlocked fish that don't like
That's exactly what we've
having
done.
that freedom?
That's exactly what we've done. And I'm writing a letter right now to Attenborough saying, mate,
new thing for
here's
you.
one for you.
Zombie. So when does a tailor turn into a mullet?
Fly your crew,
show us.
Fly your crew into Melbourne. I'll drive them down East Gippsland. I've got something to fucking show you. Strap in,
I'd
Dave.
watch it.
Strap
I'd
in,
watch
Dave.
it.
This is epic.
I'd watch it.
Fucking oath you would. Too right you would. Numerous times. Because, Jesus.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. Darn. Fuck. Hey, I've got, speaking of estuaries, Flathead, I wanted to run something else past you. And I don't, sometimes we say stuff and I you know, when it's said, but then you might listen to it back. And you hope it doesn't come across the wrong way, ads, but...
What, like opening estuary systems with shovels?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, okay. I'll just asking for a friend.
I'm okay with it because it's... Well, fuck, I was going to say it's far-fetched, but someone could do it. I mean, you could... Yeah, no, don't. That's not what we're about.
Don't.
What I'm going to say now, I need to... Nah, I'm just going to own it. I'm going to own it.
Just say it.
Okay.
Just throw it out there and we'll see what happens.
Have we seen enough drone shots of Flathead? I'm sorry, I don't mean that in a real negative way, but I feel like it's awesome, but it's been done to death a little bit now. It's not as exciting as it was. Don't stop on my behalf, but just I don't know. Is this okay? Let me just wrap up before I throw to you completely. On the back of that is surely there's something. What's next? What's next is what I'm asking. Two-parter.
Yeah, two-parter. It's weird. I don't think we've seen enough of it.
Okay.
But
So I'm an
It's a
arsehole,
good
that's what you're saying?
No, it's a good question because I know exactly what you mean.
It's cool. It's cool as shit. Like, let me just lock that in. Like, I've got no issue. I think it's great. And the first sort of few things we saw was sensational. It was cool. And it's still cool. But it's also
what else could you do it for? What else could you do it for, though? Because...
I don't know. Get creative. Taylor?
What just...
Leaping.
But they move too quick. Zombie Taylor.
I'm still not sick of seeing schools of tuna from a drone view. That's cool. That shit. Because they just look different.
Yeah, I don't know. See, I'd rather see a flatty react to a lure. I'm more...
I did see, I think Nev did some estuary perch stuff, which was pretty fucking cool.
When was that? I haven't seen that.
Haven't you? Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go and have a look.
I think it was Nev's fishing.
There was... Well, the thing that fascinates me with the drone thing with the flathead, not necessarily the whole finding a flathead, here we go. I'm fascinated with how these fish react to
100%.
the lures.
Yeah.
Only because so many times, every single time you go lure fishing, you can't help but think, how many fish have I dragged to this fucking lure past?
Yeah.
And nothing's happened. But you see those flatties react, and pausing a lure at the right time, or even getting a little twitch, because you can't help, when you see a fish react, you can't help but stop and change your retrieve.
Yeah.
So with the flathead, from what I've learnt from Nev's videos, that stop and change of the retrieve is actually quite deadly.
Yeah.
Because I think most of the stuff I've seen with him was with like big bent minnows and stuff. You'll see the lure land, and you see the flathead not move, and then a couple of twitches, you'll see it turn and react, and it swims over. But if you were to keep working the lure the same way, I reckon you're decreasing your chances of that flathead committing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
Whereas Nev will see it react, come charging at a lure, he'll stop, slow the retrieve down with shorter twitches until it eats.
Yeah. By the way, I'm not just singling Nev out. I know he's done it, but there's a bunch more that are doing it now. There's
heaps more. There's heaps more doing it now. Yeah. It's definitely an in thing. But it's kind of in the same league as LiveScope.
It is. It's an aerial LiveScope.
Just better to watch on YouTube because you see
he's better.
You see what's happening. I don't know. It's an interesting one, but it's like everything though, Luke. It happens once, everyone goes nuts, and then everybody does it.
Yeah, I get it, and so rightly so. It's really cool. Why wouldn't you? But I guess the second part of this is it's time to move on. Let's find something else to do.
Yeah,
and that, to your point, it's probably not easy. I think it'd be cool to see some Murray cod stuff.
That could be interesting.
Yeah, especially with the surface guys like that.
Yeah, and we do know cod will push up into the shallows at times too, where I reckon you could just about spot them with a drone.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's actually got me thinking of a different sort of question.
Okay.
But I'm not quite sure how to word it.
Okay. Well, this is a podcast, so you're going to have to try and find a way.
I often find myself walking around a tackle shop, and you see all these funky and cool like lures and bits and pieces. I think that I wonder. Say, let's just use the drone stuff with the flatties because that's what we're talking about right now, anyway. I wonder how many different lures you could throw at a flathead that you spotted with a drone. Do you reckon it would turn on everything? If you were to grab, say, you find a couple of you dedicated a day to finding flatties up on the flat. So
Yeah.
you find your flathead, you chuck a plastic, catch it, awesome. Find another one, chuck a bent minnow, catch it, awesome. Where does it end? Do you reckon you could go
Spin
and
a
just
bait.
rip out a size 2 stump jumper, find a flathead, rip it down, dig the bib into the sand a couple of times, wait for it to come over, pause, and get it?
Yeah.
Do you reckon there's lures you could find that it just you don't get a reaction? It just goes, oh, no, fuck that.
Honestly, would be hard pressed to find. I've caught them on metal slugs being skimmed across the surface. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, so they fucking hit squid jigs, for God's sake.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what. I mean, I would find it hard to believe that, you know, when you think of some of the popular top water lures on the market and for smaller stuff, so whether it's a jackal pompadour or it's a bent minnow or it's a, you know, mega bass siglet or that sort of shit, I reckon they'll just devour all of that stuff.
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Okay. So going further, because that's what we do on this show, we go further.
We often take it too far. But this isn't too far.
What?
Continue.
No. What size lure do you think would max out in which a flathead would just go, fuck, that's too big? Because do you reckon you could make a valid argument for, say,
10-inch mag draft?
Okay, there's a perfect example. If you were to lob a mag draft on a good flatty, say 80 plus, that you've droned up.
Yeah.
If you were to wind it close enough and then just make the lure go all fucked out and look wounded, do you reckon that flathead's going to try and eat it?
No shit. What's? Yeah, I think they'd contemplate it.
I reckon we'd be surprised at the reaction.
So what's 10 inches? That's about what, between 26 and 30 centimeters or something. Yeah, I know, but if you're talking about if you happen to stumble across an 80, 85 centimeter flathead and something less than half its size happens to swim past with a narrower body, it's almost bite size. I wouldn't put it past it.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to take this one step further. I'm doing it, Luke. I'm doing it.
Yes. What are you doing? I like it.
Nev, if you're listening, DM me. Nev, if you're not listening, everybody else who watches Nev's stuff, harass him so that he DMs me.
Yeah.
I want to give him a 10-inch mag draft.
Yeah. Yeah. Challenge. Deep drop challenge.
Yep. And I wanna see if a flathead will eat it.
Fucking oath. All right. I'm going to reach out to Nev, but that's not enough. I want everyone listening to message him. Get into his inbox. Every single person. Instagram, go find him. YouTube, wherever, and say, hey, the Deep Drop have a challenge for you. Get in touch with them now.
Because he's got the drone stuff down pat. And this is purely out of interest to see how big of a lure is too big for a flathead. Mm-hmm. Commonly known to eat everything. I reckon knowing the placement of a 10-inch swim bait in relation to where that flathead is and how it's reacting, I reckon you could get it to eat it.
I agree. But okay, what if again? Let's stay on the 10-inch mag draft for a minute. What if all you could find is 60 centimeter fish? Is a 50 or 60 centimeter fish going to eat a 10-inch swim bait? Or even whether it's eat or just have a crack at to the point where you'd actually hook it.
Yeah, I wonder if you can get a reaction bite out of it. I wonder how territorial flatties are to just bigger fish swimming past. Non-threat.
By the way, those racing black mag draft that they've just brought out in the last few months, or this year, they're a cool looking colour. That's a good colour. I don't know whether it's a good colour for flatties, but I'm just saying it's a good colour.
We're about to find out.
Nev, We're
Nev.
we're giving you a job. Fucking reach
I
out,
think
Nev.
I think it would be pretty cool. I think it would be pretty cool to see.
Mate. Nev, we've got so many challenges for you, but let's start with this one. Start with this one. Wow.
All right.
Okay.
All right. I need to get a 10-inch
No, we got
mag draft.
Yeah, we got it. And maybe, you know what? Maybe
That's
maybe
easy
we,
done.
yeah, but maybe we go 6, 8, and 10, and then he starts with 10, and if it's not getting anything, we go down and just see what. You know what I mean?
Ooh, or we keep going, or we start small, get the fish, get the confidence, go to the 8, see what's up,
Yeah.
and then go the grand finale with the 10.
Nah, start 10. Start 10. Yep, just straight into it. That's what. That's where I'm at. Don't fuck
All right,
about.
I'll get the lure.
Not here to fuck spiders, ads. We're here to catch big flathead on big swim baits.
Yeah.
Do you know where
Right,
when you were
lure.
talking about like how big's too big or what would you max out at? I started thinking about like, I know this is weird, but so am I. So whatever. What if you were throwing like skirts, like casting skirts and just ripping them back subsurface? You know, that sort of shit. Like just mixing it up, like completely. Like I don't know. I'm just saying, like, because you're also saying what wouldn't they eat? Is there anything that they wouldn't eat, regardless of size? Like, but because I'm struggling to find in my head, because even like you mentioned stump jumper, yeah, okay, well they're predominantly built around that native market, but like as if a flathead's not going to smash a stumpy.
Oh, I reckon a flatty would eat the shit out of a stump jumper.
I reckon a flatty would eat a gold bomber.
Oh, a piece of piss.
I reckon a flat, you know, but
Sideways.
That's what I'm whole, like just in one hit. That's what I'm getting at. Like, I don't know what it wouldn't eat.
Let's find out.
Jesus, it's going to cost us a lot of money.
Do you know what other lure I thought?
What?
You know that big fucking stupid entice lure that's like weighs about 15 kilos?
Yeah.
It's like a small tuna.
It's like a small child. I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, that too. I have seen videos of cod caught on it. Tom Pinder's put out a few videos where he's caught cod on those massive things. But it's hard enough finding a rod and reel just to cast the bloody thing.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. I mean, do we need to up-spec Nev's gear to be casting mag drafts?
No, I reckon he'd have something sussed for it. No worries.
Yeah, it's a fascinating thought, and I think we need to get it done. So again, harass him, get into him, the deep drop. Just let him know. Just let him know. He knows who we are. Just let him know that we want it, that we need him to get in touch.
We're trying to. It's for science.
It's for science.
Yeah. In the name of science.
So what about your stable, lads? I mean, I know there's a fair chunk of hard body Rapala lures that, you know, you only have to speak to Lee Rayner for 5 minutes before he mentions and I've gone blank. What's the one he uses for flatties all the time? The
Ripstop.
Ripstop. So that's an obvious sort of favourite. Is there a slightly bigger profile that's not necessarily, you know, traditionally used for, say, flatties that you would like to see tested in that area?
Well, it depends on how funky you want to get. There is, because so the first one that comes to mind, and I know plenty of flathead have been caught on this lure, and it has a very controversial name. It's the X-Rat Pedo.
Jesus Christ, I didn't think we'd be going here tonight. Fucking hell.
No bullshit.
I'm talking
Google
about opening estuary systems, and I felt it'd be bad, and then you've just hit us with that. Jeez.
Yeah, if you're going to Google it, please get the spelling right. P-E-T-O. X-Rat. P-E-T-O. It's actually a really, really cool lure.
Can we get Finland on the phone? Like, Jesus, like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. So, there's that. But do you know what else would be interesting? Kicking it really old school and getting like one of those old school timber countdown, like 22 centimeter metal bib typically a blue water trolling lure.
Well, there's something that you guys are bringing out, which I don't think I'm probably allowed to talk about, that I reckon would be a fucking killer.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that in a few months' time.
Correct. But there is, but they're not sort of traditional.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Lures.
Yeah, no, yeah. Okay, well, I mean, yeah, I think the question is, I mean, there's so many questions. But is there a lure that a flathead wouldn't eat? Firstly, in an estuary sit like those duskies.
I honestly don't think there would be anything they wouldn't eat. It'd be interesting to see how hard you've got to work for them to eat it, and that's where I think the drone's crucial, because I would love to know what you have to do to try and get a good flathead to even have a look at, say, a 10-inch mag draft or a...
Yeah.
Because the thing is, they're a chunky lure as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're not they're a big lure.
That is the size of some of those stupid mullet or morphed bloody Taylor floating around. So it would be... They would have to eat them at some point. I just wonder how hard you've got to work to... Because I don't think if you were just slow rolling it like you would for a cod, I don't think you're going to get that much love. I reckon if you were able to sight the fish, spot it, wind up to it, and then shake it like it was in a lot of trouble, I reckon you could probably get a flathead to eat it. You could just kick into that flatty's prey drive and try and get it to turn on. Whereas if you're just winding it past, you could potentially get a reaction bite. But I think if you can get it looking all wounded and injured, you could get it to eat it.
Are we going to put a limit on how many casts to give it before we say it's not working for this challenge with Nev?
That's a good question.
Because we've got to call it at some point. Now I know that's not.
I'd be happy to leave it up to the angler.
Yeah.
Because in Nev's case, he knows what's up. But I would be willing to go, if he has 12 casts with it over 2 or 3 different fish on the drone and not one turns, I'd be happy for him to say, fellas, it's a fucking waste of time.
Yeah. And this is where it's fishing in general is so hard, because you could do that the following day and get a fish first cast with the same lure. You know what I mean? Like but we have to just call it for what it is on that day. So if he can choose Nev, you can choose the day, you can choose the location, you put yourself in the best possible position and situation to get one of these fish to bite, and then it's all up to angler and lure.
Yeah.
And
it's pretty funny.
This is great. I love this. This is a good way of fishing for us. We get to sit back in our comfy chairs and just get someone else to do the hard work for us. I like it.
No, but I like but I like being able to tap into the, like, Nev clearly knows what he's doing. Good angler. He's put in time to do it. I'm more interested to see if it's a viable option, or if you just go, you know what, just take a 6, because I don't know. I'm just interested by this stuff. I reckon you could get it to hit it. Whether it would be a viable option to have one in your tackle box at all times and you go flathead fishing, I'd probably put money on no.
But that's not what we're asking.
No, I just want to see if it eats it once.
Exactly.
Ever.
We're not asking about, should you or shouldn't you? Of course you shouldn't.
we like to push the boundaries. I want to see what's up.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. So let's work on that during the week. Nev, get in touch. We'll plan it out. We'll get you on the show and you can talk us through it after you've done it, whether it's a success or failure.
We'll get you a lure.
Oh, we'll sort that out. Don't worry.
Yeah, we can get that.
That
would be pretty cool, though.
Good stuff. So there's a bit to get through there. So don't forget to jump on Instagram. The Deep Drop is where you'll find us. You can shoot us a message, or, of course, you can just comment on some of the posts that we put up. But, we'll ask a question, about opening of the estuary systems ad, because I want to know. I don't want to... I don't know. We're not encouraging, but I'm just curious to hear other people's thoughts on whether it would be something that would... I guess the pros and cons of doing it,
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah. I'm interested in the way you're really distancing yourself from that topic.
Mate, I played it with a very straight bat.
You
It's
have.
just so-
You're letting me die by my own sword. I'm okay with that. You know what I'm saying, though.
Oh, fuck.
It's
Yeah,
a
no, I know
curiosity.
what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
It's all right. Leave it there. I'm not going
I
to
know
try
what
and
you're saying.
drag you down with me. I'll go down with. I'll go down with the ship. You get on the
Mate,
life. You get on the life raft and get the fuck out of here.
I was just about to say, I'll throw the life ring. I'll throw it.
Okay, so and then we've got obviously. Is there anything a dusky won't eat? Is there any lure a dusky flathead would shy away from? So on the back of that, we've got Adam has thrown out the challenge to Nev. So everyone listening, get in touch with him and say the Deep Drop want you for a challenge. Go and find out what it is and get out there and do it.
Yeah. It
Love
would be interesting. It would be really interesting.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right, thanks, Ads. You have yourself a lovely evening, and we'll be back with more of the Deep Drop. Head over to the deepdrop.au. Find us on Spotify. Share the love. Send it to your friends and family and work colleagues is funny because quite often they don't like fishing. So you're like, check this wicked podcast out. And they roll in on Monday morning going, what the fuck was that all about?
The fuck was that?
Yeah, that's all right. That's the way we like to play it. Anyway, thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate you listening. We'll see you again soon. See you, Ads.
Peace.